Hello, welcome to Veritas. I'm your host, Adam Colazetti, and I'm here to guide you on a meditative adventure like no other. Join me and lose yourself in your imagination as we travel the outer reaches of the cosmos, quest for powerful talismans, and explore the inner realm of your subconscious. What might you find along the way? But be warned, fair traveler, this path is not for the faint of heart. On this path, of one thing I am certain, dragons be here. Are you ready? So how we're going to begin is you're going to sit comfortably, however that means to you. Could be legs crossed, could be sitting in a chair, whatever it is, sit somewhere comfortably that you feel relaxed and comfortable. And you're going to close your eyes and you're going to take 3 deep breaths. Deep breath in, count to 4. Deep breath out, count to 4. And each time you exhale, you're going to try and relax your body a little bit further. So you're going to inhale, pause, exhale. Pause. So as you're doing this and you're relaxing, it's in those pauses between breaths where we're going to go. That is where your creativity meets your imagination, meets your subconscious. So let's see what awaits you in the spaces between breaths. The universe is not so large. In fact, for some it is not quite large enough. Your focus is undeniable. Stars burst into cosmic dust and holes in space-time are torn as you bend reality to your will. With a thought, dust coalesces and spins until a planet forms. Billions of years pass in an instant, but it is irrelevant. From your perspective, you are beyond time. You simply focus on your task at hand. More material is needed, so you destroy a galaxy over there in order to create your vision over here. On and on you continue like a sculpture, gradually molding your vision. With one last thought, you will your life into your system and it begins to rotate and move with gravity. You bombard your planets with comets from the outer reaches, paying particular attention to one in particular that you have placed just so. Water begins to flood the surface and an atmosphere forms. It is turbulent though, and despite your will it fights you. Still you focus, bending reality. The planet is too large, so you smash a neighboring planet into it and break off a piece, only to remold it. Again, you bombard it with material, and again oceans form and you begin to create an atmosphere. This time, it works and your perfect creation is now ready. You project your will down onto the planet and form a body. On the top of a mountain range, you stand surveying your work. It is a range of 3 peaks, marked by their striking resemblance to 3 great fingers stretching into the sky. You decide you need more ocean and are about to rip the landscape apart to build it when a streak of light catches your eye. No, it couldn't be. The adversary, not here, not now. You've worked too hard at this, yet there is no denying it. They have found you again. With a scream, you shout at the world and great wings sprout from your back and your body contorts into dagger and claw until a great black dragon towers where your former form stood. With a cry, you dart into the air so that dance begins again. How many times since time immemorial have you and the adversary battled? How many worlds have been destroyed? Your focus is singular, your world forgotten. Ahead of you, your world burns. In the center, surrounded by billowing smoke, is the silhouette of a figure. With a snarl, you rip the ground apart and a great crack appears to swallow them, only to have them reappear in an explosion of mountain and rock on the opposite side of the planet. Ahead of you, one of the moons shifts and accelerates towards you as the adversary moves the moon. With a snarl, you breathe the fire of creation and consume the moon in its entirety. Only this was a distraction and you realize it too late. Volcanoes burst forth from the ground in a circle around you like a fist and you were swallowed in lava. Even you have to abide by the rules of this place when in this form. Gasping for air and choking on lava, you cough and sputter. In a rage, you scorch the earth around you in all directions, sending a wave of destruction that eventually consumes the planet. The adversary has leaped, but instead of through space, they now leap through time, so you follow and find yourself thousands of years in the future. The planet is ravaged. Nothing but red rock and dust remain, an insult to your creation. Beyond the horizon, the silhouette of the adversary shimmers. There is a flash of light above you as the star you so carefully placed supernovas, and a wall of energy speeds towards your planet at the speed of light. You simply accelerate forward to a different time, and all that remains is the gases of a nebula, now the only reminder of what once was. The fire of rage is gone, replaced by cold focus. You must find the adversary. You will find them. The gases of the nebula fold as gravity itself bends towards your will, and in the sky the great shape of a beast can be seen for a moment. The whole universe is not big enough to hide. You will find them. Like a spinning top, you spin galaxies and sift through them like a great hand sifting through sand. From one to the other, and still you are relentless. Back in time further and further you go, 1 billion years, 5 billion, 10. Gradually galaxies begin to coalesce as you search, frantically tearing everything apart. Time passes and you are unaware. You are beyond time and space, forwards or backwards. This place or that place, it does not matter. The adversary cannot hide. Back you go until the universe itself coalesces onto a singular point, beyond which is inaccessible even to yourself. The singularity hovers in front of you, humming with power, the true power of creation itself. You caress it with your will, feeling awed in spite of yourself. All that you are is nothing compared to this singular point. But then it explodes and the universe expands, and suddenly you are thrown forward in time again. In the confusion, you lose track of where and when you are. You know only that you are completely encapsulated with heat and energy until it cools and becomes mass, and then again there is stillness. Just you and the dark and the dust. For the briefest of moments, there is a glimmer of something in between. Something undiscovered in between action and inaction, where the cool vibration of the universe can be felt. But then it is gone. You cannot comprehend anything other than action. You are the instrument of change. Creation or destruction, it matters not. They are the same, and you are their master. Your will is all there is, and ever will be, except for the adversary. Momentarily forgotten, your hate now burns anew. The universe is not big enough for both of you. You must destroy them. It is your purpose. You must destroy them, and by doing so create something new, a universe in your own image, crafted and molded without hindrance or torment. This thought renews your focus once again, and you stretch your mind into the limits of what you can see, and there, sure enough, you see something. 3 billion years in the future, there is a glimmer. Without a second thought, you were there. Sure enough, it is faint but unmistakable. There, in the outer rim of a nondescript galaxy, something is different. It is a planet. Could it be? You will yourself closer, and sure enough, the traces of creation are everywhere. Discarded dust and exploded stars. Black holes in abundance, haphazardly discarded, but yet there, a planet with water and the building blocks of something new. With a satisfied smirk, you take form and descend on the planet. A fiery ball consumes you as you descend with all your fury onto the surface. You revel in seeing your power light up the sky, and sure enough, as you land, off in the distance there stands the adversary. They have seen you. They know the end is at hand, you are sure of it. The last dance will finally happen in here and now, and you are ready and you are focused. You smile as you stare back at the silhouette of the adversary standing atop a particular mountaintop. You are so focused and sure you barely acknowledge what is right in front of you. Certainly not the distinct mountain range they stand on, marked by their striking resemblance to 3 great fingers stretching into the sky. There is stillness for a moment, and then there is a scream as great wings extend from the adversary's back. The dance begins again, for the universe is not large enough. Hello and welcome to Veritas. We're here to talk about truth. And whose truth? Well, your truth, hopefully. In this series, I have with me Meagan Fettes. Thanks so much for coming on the show, Meagan.
Thanks for having me, Adam. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I enjoy talking about this stuff with Meagan, so I was super excited to invite her on, and we are talking about Mars and Venus theme here today, so masculine, feminine energy. And we just listened to episode 1, which is very masculine, but before we get into that, let's draw a card and see what happens.
Cool.
All right, here you go.
All right.
Any guesses before you?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
They're all animal?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to guess a deer.
Okay.
No.
What'd you get?
I got A warthog.
A warthog. A boar.
A boar.
Okay, let's check that out here.
Okay.
Here we go. The warrior spirit. There you go.
It's so fitting with the story that you just shared.
Leadership and direction. This is the warrior spirit helping you find direction in your life. A wild and powerful animal. Invites you to the forest to discover a secret about yourself. Wow. That is fitting.
That is so fitting. And it's funny because I was looking at the colors,
Yeah.
right? And when you talk about Mars, it's known for that orange, yellow, kind of fiery color. And so it's just so fascinating to me.
Awesome.
I love this stuff because you just can't make it up, right? Like it's just so synergistic every single time.
Oh, that's so fantastic. Okay, so the warrior spirit. How did you enjoy the first episode?
I loved it. I really feel like oftentimes that experience and that journey of self is like embodying that warrior spirit within, but also allowing it to not take over, right? Having that balance of like the fight and the push, but also the surrender.
Yeah, like I think in this story, this character is, this all-powerful being is without balance. They're creating and they're destroying and they must have action and whatever, and they kind of miss a little bit in that war they're constantly waging, right?
Yeah, well, because they're so singular focused, right? Like, I have to win.
Right.
And it's interesting to me because that is that warrior spirit, right? When it's not in tune and when it's not supported in the other ways that it needs to be, that warrior energy comes off in that singular focus. What is it that I need to do to win?
Right?
Yeah.
No, I really enjoyed writing that one because that one really, I found it easy to relate to that. Right? I definitely enjoy that, like, warrior spirit, whether it's like competitiveness or whatever it is that you're doing. Yeah, you of course, then it comes along this adversary, right? This like bane of your existence that constantly shows up, and there's this great battle that goes on, and it's larger than life, and planets are destroyed, and it's kind of ridiculous and over the top, right? And then you chase the adversary and you light up the sky and all that kind of stuff. How'd you feel about that? Any emotions come up for you as you were waging war?
Absolutely. Like, I was tuning into my own energy with that. And I love the relatability because I feel like that is our experience as mankind, right? Like, every single one of us has an adversary.
Right.
And the way I heard the story was the adversary was itself, right? Like, it was no thing outside of itself.
Right.
But yet it felt like it was, right? Like, it had to destroy all of these things, and only until that happens will I find peace. And I can relate to that on such a deep level on how many things have I created and destroyed searching for that peace externally, realizing that the whole battle is actually internal.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you kind of, alluded to the irony, right? You're chasing, you're this all-powerful being, this godlike being, time, space, doesn't matter, and yet still you were battling with like the same issues as the tiniest human going about their daily life. Yes. Right? Just on a larger scale. And then of course you scour the universe and you look everywhere and you find the adversary and you descend on them, but then, for a moment it's like almost like a chance. There's like hope for like a second that you might notice and look around and see something familiar, but they don't. And I don't know, I feel like it's kind of sad almost, right? Mm-hmm. And then of course, I think you picked up on it, but like at the end, the mountainscape looks very familiar, which, potentially leads to a interesting conclusion.
Totally. Like, I love how you talk about like the wings come out, right? As you talked about at the beginning of the story. And that's where I was like, ooh, that landed me into a very visceral almost experience in my body where it was like, how often have I come like face to face with myself in different ways, right? Like, oh, I'm going to do all of these things only to find myself in consistent challenge, not from anything else, but the internal experience that I'm having my own identity, my own perception of who I am, whatever it is that is like I'm facing and having to move through, almost battle, if you will, to be able to come to the other side in order to create that sense of peace.
Well, and I think, this idea that if you don't find that balance, right, in this story, it's like pure masculine energy. So there isn't any of that feminine energy or that peace to stop and reflect or even notice that. So this, this being is doomed to fight themselves to the end of time, constantly frustrated that this adversary is stopping them from doing what they want, and it's just them, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I love that idea of balance, right? Like searching for this balance. But I'm always curious, like, what does that actually mean? What does balance really look like?
And I think, very subjective, could change from day to day, right? In this example, the warrior spirit, like, I don't know, sometimes you gotta let the beast out, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe that's the balance you need, to just let that energy out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I even, like, as a woman, for example, I often think about, okay, how do I balance that masculine energy and that feminine energy? Because we all have it within us. And there's some weeks that are more like masculine, if you will, where it's like, I'm going to be pushing, I'm focused, these are the things that I need to do, but also knowing that other weeks are more feminine. It's a little bit more chill, it's a little bit slower. The inaction is more of the action that I'm taking.
Just kind of like let it flow, right? You don't always have to do something, and whatever that something is doesn't always have to be like intense and like aggressive and, right? So, but one thing I, in contemplating this stuff about Mars, Venus, masculine, feminine, is like my own gender biases kind of like came up as I was writing it, right? Like, I'm a man, so it was like saying like masculine versus like feminine energy, right? It like, even the way I'm saying it, right? Like
Yeah.
It's almost like if you could pick two different words, it would almost be easier to describe, right?
Well, yeah, because I mean, we associate something to those words, right? It's like we just like the category of it. And so it's interesting to me because I find men specifically have more of that bias than women. Only because, like, as women, we've kind of felt like we've had to lean into the masculine a lot more. So we're still learning how to embody that feminine energy that is supposed to be our natural state of being, right? But men, like you guys have been ingrained to be those warriors, to be the strong ones, to like push hard, do the things. And I think unwinding from that, and it kind of goes again back to identity, like who are you when you're not that? Or who are you if you allow yourself to experience emotions or that flow or whatever it is, the creativity that comes naturally with the feminine energy. And that's a hard thing to be able to recognize.
Ooh, I love that. That's such a good lead into like the next episodes and all that kind of stuff. So I love that we went there. But yeah, stay tuned. We're going to get into episode 2, which is going to be kind of the polar opposite. So let's check it out.
Awesome.
Join me each week as a new chapter unfolds. What worlds will we explore next? What gods and monsters will we find? What part of yourself will awaken? Only one way to find out.